It's Mystic Lens with Rise and Shine Astrology, and this is me rebooting, or I guess starting an entirely new podcast. And I thought it would be so perfect to start with my Exploring Consciousness program that I did a month ago, or I guess it's a little over a month ago now. It was such a fascinating experience, and I feel like it totally, drop kicked me back into my work. That's how I feel. It was an incredible experience, and it's taken me this long, like, a little over a month to integrate and to process everything that I experienced during my time there. There was just so much, and I feel like just, like, trying to get regrounded from that experience because you're constantly out of body. There's so much healing, subconscious work and subconscious healing that takes place, and it was such an intense spiritual high for me that was at least almost a year in the making. It's a fascinating story that I'm excited to tell, and, yeah, it's got me back into the full swing of my work, and, a lot of my experiences that I had there, I don't know, like, really let me know that I'm supposed to be doing this work and to do this podcast. So here we are. It will be imperfect as I get started and figure it out, but that's just what you do. You just get started and you figure it out as you go. So this whole experience with the Monroe Institute, this program, so rewind, I just the Monroe Institute in general. It's something that I have known that I was going to do eventually at some point. The Monroe Institute, for those of you who don't know, it's like, I like to describe it as like Hogwarts. It's probably like the closest thing we have in this world to Hogwarts. It's like a spirit school. Okay, so Robert Monroe, the founder, he used frequencies to help propel or to facilitate or unlock our innate spiritual abilities that we all have, our capacity to experience things beyond this 3D reality. Maybe I should just like read what he says from his own words. Basically, okay, so here it says, using Monroe's audio technologies, education, and research, the Monroe Institute has been providing individuals with self empowerment opportunities in the exploration of expanded states of awareness for more than 50 years. So that's what it is. His whole philosophy is that we're more than our physical bodies and are therefore able to experience things beyond this physical reality. And that's what you do. Like when you're going to one of these Monroe Institute programs, it's like an intensive thing. That's what you're there to do, like 24/7. Like in your waking hours, you are putting on these headphones and listening to these frequencies and meditating and having some wild experiences. And for those of you that have been following me for a long time, um I've I'm I've had experiences my whole life. Ever since I was a kid, seeing spirit, knowing things, prophetic dreams, all kinds of stuff. I've always felt like such an alien and like I'm always experiencing what's outside of this physical reality. Like to me that is reality. That's what's normal. So I was so excited when I learned about the Monroe Institute and what they do there because I was like, hey, if I can do this stuff naturally, um even including, like, going out of body, I've been astral projecting spontaneously since I was a kid, and it's gotten, progressed as I've gotten older, as has all my other spiritual gifts and abilities, and I just figured with some help, with, like, a boost, I was just so curious to see what would happen, what I would experience, and it did not disappoint. It was incredibly fascinating. But, yeah, so I've always had this intention and this knowing that I would end up going to the Monroe Institute. And through being connected to Ryan Bledsoe, which if you haven't heard of the Bledsoe family and Chris Bledsoe, you need to look it up. Like right now, type into YouTube Chris Bledsoe and you're welcome. Like enjoy binging all of wild and incredible. And I think everybody needs to be introduced to Chris Bledsoe, his family, and their story. Being connected to Ryan Bledsoe, he was doing some programs with the Monroe Institute, and anyway, like that's something I was not aware of at the time. Okay, so I have prophetic dreams all the time. like daily, if not weekly. Like it's a common reoccurrence for me. And last March, so March 2025, I have this dream that I am at a spirit school similar to Hogwarts with Ryan Bledsoe. I We're there like getting all the spiritual training and working on our abilities and doing energy work, and I'm seeing us with this group of people, and I see everyone in vivid when I say I see them in vivid detail, there's some of, like, their appearance going on, but it's more of, like, an energy, like, um, I'm seeing the different people there, their energies, what they remind me of, how they feel to me, things like that. Again, I'm, like, seeing us all sit at this big table, just like in Harry Potter, right, at Hogwarts, sitting at this big table, eating lunch. So I have that dream, and then I also had another dream where it's the same thing. It's the same scenario with this group of people. We're doing this spirit school type thing, and there in this dream, I showed up late. I showed up late to the party. Everybody's there waiting on me, and I show up late. And when I get there, everybody's like, "There she is," do introductions. And I specifically remember from that dream, like, going down this spiral staircase, and it was just so mind-blowing. Anyways, I wake up from this dream, check my phone, and there's this, like, opportunity to go to the Monroe Institute. And I'm like, "Well, obviously that's for me, right?" Like, obviously, this is how things work for me. I dream about it. I wake up and there it is. Like, sometimes it really is that quick, that literal. It just happens that way. Other times, obviously, it can sometimes take longer than that, including this whole thing, what it turned out being. So I jump on the opportunity. I'm like, sign me up. Me and my husband are going to be there. Let's do this. And what this opportunity was a week-long stay at the Monroe Institute doing their entire Gateway program, and I was so excited. Me and my husband were getting ready for it. Everything's coming together, and then a week before we're supposed to leave, we get this health scare that comes up out of nowhere with my son, and it's one of those things that's like, you just gotta drop everything. This takes priority over anything else in life. So we drop it. We're like, obviously, we can't do this right now. For whatever reason, this is like derailing us from these plans, and it's time to focus on family, figure this out, whatever. And thankfully, things ended up not being a super huge emergency for my son, which thank God. But then also, I was, I was kind of like, okay, but what? Like, why give me the super detailed dream? Why give me the opportunity immediately afterwards? Like, why kind of dangle this carrot in my face? Like, what is the point of this? Like, what's happening here? This isn't usually how things go for me. Like, it wasn't making sense. So, of course, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm sure in time it will make sense. I guess we'll see. Like, I don't know. But I spent a while, like, being so confused and just like, okay, all right, whatever. I guess we'll find out later. And then in that time period, Ryan Bledsoe, my friend, he becomes a Monroe trainer, and he started offering his own like mini Monroe experiences called Exploring Consciousness programs, where it's like the first few days of the typical week long Monroe program. So he starts offering that. I think his first one was like in October, and I was like, sweet, I want to do it. But then I couldn't. Other things came up, stuff for my kids for school, wasn't going to happen. And then I think his next one was in November. And I was like, well, maybe I can make that one. And then once again, it was like that's when all of my kids were in plays, and it just happened to be during that time, that weekend. So it was like, shoot, all right, well, hopefully I catch the next one. And the next one happens in January. And I'm like, okay, I'm making this happen. This is it. Like, no excuses. We're making this happen. And I did. Like, I sat in prayer, like, is this one God? Like, how does this feel? Just sitting with it for a minute. And I just feel my soul screaming, yes, like, this is it. Go for it. This is it. So I throw my deposit down. We pay for it. And I immediately, immediately after paying for our trip, me and my husband both, because I always like to bring my husband along to these things. He's super gifted himself, and he's so much more grounded and logical and more normal, very normal. He's brilliant. He works with technology. He uses his mind a lot. Like he's just more, I don't know, normal. He's amazing and but he has so many spiritual gifts that I've been so excited for him to open up to, especially when it comes to energy work. Like he's insanely naturally gifted at that. And he's always just, like, along for the ride. Like, I bring him on these spiritual adventures, and he's like, "Hell yeah, like, let's go for it. Let's see what happens." And so we were excited, but, like, immediately after paying for us to go and be a part of this, we get hit with, like, resistance. So much resistance, like, one right after another, and it doesn't let up. It's like it's so intense. Like, my kids get sick, my dogs get sick. I'm like, "Do I really wanna do this?" Like and this is something that I just really firmly believe. Whenever you are moving in a direction that you're meant to go in, like any forward momentum, there's that law of resistance. You're gonna receive and feel and experience pushback. So I'm very aware of that. Like I'm very aware of like, okay, this is a lot of resistance. And then sometimes when you experience resistance, it can be like, does this mean this is something I'm not supposed to do? Like there's all these things that seem like it's trying to prevent us from going. Like, should I be like, am I being dumb for not listening? But I just knew and was able to recognize like this is just resistance. This is something I'm supposed to do. This is what I dreamed I was going to have this happen and I have faith and now's the time. I mean, it kept happen like the resistance didn't let up even after like flying into Wilmington, which there's this massive winter storm that's apparently going to be like going right through this area. I'm like, what the heck are we doing? We're literally like going into the eye of this freaking storm. My kid's sick. Like there's so many things that's like I'm feeling terrible and selfish for doing this, but I just know and given my I don't know, like I've said, I've been on this spiritual path and journey from the time I was a kid, and I've had so much experience in practicing listening to my heart and my soul and the direction in which it's guiding me. I've had so much practice with that. So at this point, I'm like, I know what this is. I know I'm supposed to be doing this, and this is all resistance, and we just have to have faith and push through. So even after we get into Wilmington, like even more resistance comes up with things coming up with my husband's family that's super intense. And we get there and like the local weather is telling us like the roads are going to be so icy tomorrow. Nobody's ever even going to be able to leave their house. And I'm like, oh my God, like what if we get stuck in the hotel room and we can't even make it to the Airbnb that we're all going to be gathering at? Like, what if we're going to be stranded here and we did all this for nothing? Just all this. And it's like, no, no, God got us here. It led me here. I'm following it and we're going to be guided and protected. And this is going to happen. And thankfully, like that was all true. That all was very much a thing. Like the weather there was so mild. It was not even a thing. It wasn't even an issue. And okay, it's the night of this orientation where we're all gonna get together and talk before the weekend officially kicks off. And we gotta be there at 6 o'clock. Okay, and I'm like, "Okay, we gotta make sure that we are early. We can't be too early, but I don't we need to be early, right?" So we are ready to go. We get our Uber, and it felt like we were leaving at a time where I'm pretty sure, like, we were gonna be, like, at least 15 minutes early, and our Uber, I don't know I mean, he was driving really slow, he was chatting us up, we were having a good time, he was an amazing guy, it was a great time, but he was slow, and I was even kinda wondering if he was unfamiliar with the area or something, like anyways, as we're driving and we're going for a while, I'm like, "You know what? Like, how much further?" Like, Shane's looking it up on his phone, how much further, and I see we're gonna be late, and like, we still have 10 more minutes at least to get there, and it's, like, 6 o'clock already, so I'm like, "Shoot." But then I have this realization where I'm like, "Oh my god, it's happening. It's like my dream. I knew it. Like, I knew it. I knew that this was supposed to happen, and here it is, like, I'm getting hit with this sign right away, like, despite all of our efforts, like, me making sure I'm ready on time, like, us trying to make sure our Uber is, like, ready to go on time, like, everything we did everything on our part to, like, make sure that I wanted to be 15 minutes early, and here we are, gonna be 10 minutes late, and it just hits me, like, it's just like my dream told me, like, I'm gonna show up late, and So yeah, like I'm super excited about it. I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like it's so crazy. It's just these weird little details that I think are super cool and that can mean so much to me. But yeah, so we get there and we get through the door and I'm looking around at everybody and I'm like, "Oh my god, be cool, be cool." Because there's at least like 2 or 3 people right off the bat that I'm like, I recognize them. They're legit straight out of my dream, like, "Oh my god," and I'm trying to play it cool, and I'm trying to not, like, be like, "Oh my god, I know you already." I'm trying to just be chill about it. Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing to see them and to feel like I already kinda, like, knew them a little bit, and then I was so curious, like, "Oh, I wonder if they're really gonna be like how it felt in my dream." I would get talking with Ryan and everything. So, apparently in that time in the time they were waiting for us, Ryan had, like, showed everyone around the house, and he's like, "Oh, shoot, like, Shane, Lindsay, I still need to, like, show you guys around the house." And, like, I had noticed there's a spiral staircase there. I definitely noticed that, and I was like, "Hmm, interesting. Oh my god, of course there is." But yeah, so Ryan's like, "I need to show you around." And he's like, "Here's the rooms, here's bathrooms, here's everything. And Shane and Lindsay, there's this nice honeymoon suite down here. You guys will be down," and he's, like, motioning to the spiral staircase, and I'm just like, "Uh-huh, yeah." Like, "Oh my god, oh my god." And I think at that point is when I was like, "Ryan, oh my god, I dreamed all of this. Like, I dreamed all of this, I dreamed all of you." And I kinda, like, let Ryan in on what I'm experiencing with everything, like and I tell him about how I dreamed all this, and there was even the spiral staircase, and we showed up late, and all these things, and he's just like, "Oh my god, that's so crazy." So and then the other huge detail to this, like this entire group of people and how it felt in my dream when we all got together, it no joke, it felt like the Avengers. It is seriously the best way I can describe it. When I was telling like friends and family about this dream after I had it and everything, that's like how I was describing it to everybody. The group that I was with, it felt like we were the Avengers. That's how I kept saying it. Yeah, so it was so cool. It just makes my heart happy. It makes me smile even just thinking about it because of how it felt and how like, imagine, okay, like, all of my plans fell through about the Monroe Institute, the whole week-long thing, and I'm like, "What the heck?" And I'm trying to hold on to faith and being like, "Eventually, this will all make sense," and then I'm getting frustrated because I can't go to the one in October that Ryan held, then I can't make it to the one in November, but here it is, and I push through the resistance, and we show up for this one with this particular group, and I walk through the door late and there's all the people from my dream. There's the spiral staircase I dreamed about. And every time we would go downstairs to do one of our exercises and that feeling of going down that spiral staircase and like it's like I literally was like living out my dream and how it felt in my dream to go down the spiral staircase and it just was like every single time we went down those stairs I was like just so happy. Like it felt like God being like, "See? See? Like, divine timing is so real, and this is all this is what I had in store for you. This is what it was. It was this group of people that you were supposed to meet. It was this experience you were supposed to have. It was at this time you were supposed to be here." And kinda like it just felt like this divine hug. I don't know how else to describe it. It was just beautiful. It felt like such a reward for like me having faith for that entire like almost past year of waiting to see and holding on to that and not dismissing my dream, not blowing it off, not being like, "Oh, it's just dumb, it's just crazy, it's never going to happen." It was my reward for pushing through all this resistance and showing up and following my heart and my soul and following what God I feel like was leading me to do. And I just was hit with like so much this overwhelming feeling of like love and insane amounts of synchronicity. Like literally from that moment in the car when I realized I was going to be late, it was like, and it's continued. Like it hasn't stopped. Just this crazy momentum of like synchronicity after synchronicity and reward after reward. And it's been beautiful. So, anyways, okay. So at that point, we kind of like do introductions, and I didn't wanna talk about what I do. Like, I wanted to show up, just being myself. I didn't wanna share too much about my past or who I am or what I do, not too much, like, I just wanted to be there as myself without this, like I don't know, like, this part's gonna be a little bit tricky for me to talk about because it's gonna be hard for me to put into words what I mean with all of this. So, like, obviously, I know I have these spiritual gifts, and it's taken me a lot to get to a point where I can comfortably talk about them because it's something that's so important to me. It's such a part of me. And of course, over time, I've gotten like a thicker skin. Like, people don't believe you, right? Like, that's generally what you get when you have these gifts. Like, people are suspicious of you, they don't believe you. They're like, uh huh, cool. Yeah, right. Almost, and then either that or like they want you to prove it to them or like it comes with, like, a sense of pressure, I feel like, basically, and I didn't wanna do that. I didn't wanna feel that. I didn't want to, I just wanted to be me, like, I didn't and also, like, I suck in group situations. Everyone that knows me knows that, like, I just suck at it. In my heart, I'm warm and friendly, and I love everyone. Outwardly, not s like, that's not how I come across, okay? Like, I'm a Scorpio rising with Pluto on my ascendant, and then, like, for all the people that know astrology, you know exactly what I mean with that, and then I've got my Leo midheaven, but I've got my sun in the 8th house. I've got this 8th house stellium, the Scorpio rising, and Pluto on my ascendant. I come across as kind of cold and detached and like leave me the fuck alone. Like I do that. And I'm very aware of it. Sometimes it makes me sad because it's like I just love you. That's what I want people to feel is like my warmth and how much I love people and my passion and I want people to feel my heart, but I'm guarded. I'm very protective of myself, protective of my energy cuz there's many reasons why, but, like, it's because I have to. I can't be absorbing other people's energies all the time. I mean, it happens anyways, even with my guard and my wall, it gets through. But yeah, like, so that's how I can come across anyways, is just kinda, like, not interested, leave me alone. And I don't mean to, but, like, also, yeah, so and I'm not great at groups. I'm much better at, like, one-on-one, and once I feel comfortable and once I feel like I'm safe to, like, fully be myself, I feel a lot better. So the whole group thing, which, like, just to like elaborate a little bit more, talk about my birth chart a little bit more and why this is meaningful to me. So I've got my South Node in Leo, North Node in Aquarius. So with my North Node in Aquarius, one of the things I'm meant to learn to embrace and learn from is the whole thing of groups, right? Like allowing myself into groups, getting comfortable with groups, participating with groups, like opening myself up to that, opening myself up to community. And that's something that's hard for me because when you feel like a weirdo outcast and you're kind of treated like that, groups don't feel like your friend, right? And obviously, this is a group of like amazing spiritual people that came to have this experience. So it's not like obviously they're gonna be way more open than most people would be, but still, like it's something I'm still very new to. So yeah, I'm like, how do I even handle this whole thing? I didn't want to talk about myself and what I do so much, and I just wanted to like be myself. And I wasn't even sure if I'd be able to share about my experiences and stuff because I knew that I was going to have experiences without a doubt. So when I do my introduction, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I've had spiritual experiences my whole life and I've, had astral projection experiences throughout my life. And I just want to see what I can experience with some help. And Ryan is not about to let me play small. So he kind of like interrupts my introduction and he's like, guys, he basically is like, Lindsay's kind of a big deal. She's a really gifted and talented astrologer. And I'm just like, oh my God, like how sweet, how flattering, totally blowing my cover, but that's okay. And just so sweet. Plus, like, I 120,000% intended on getting a hold of everybody's birth chart there. Like, I knew without a doubt that would be something that I would be doing because that's just what I do. Like, I get obsessed and fascinated by people, and I can't wait to get my hands on their chart. And I wanted to see like what other connections we might have, what similarities. I knew and figured that we would have a lot of similar energies or like similar transits that brought this particular group there together. And once I saw everybody there and it was like, oh my gosh, I already know you. You were from my dream. I already know what you feel like and everything. Then it was like, oh yeah, for sure. Like definitely doing some birth chart readings while I'm here for sure. So anyways, um that was it was wonderful to meet everybody and to hear their introductions and to get to meet everyone that night, and, like, I'm just trying to play it cool and not be like, "Oh my god, I saw you from my dream. I feel like I already know you." Like, I'm trying to be chill about everything, and it was wonderful to meet everyone. And, like, how mind-blowing. Okay, so this was our dilemma, right? Our hotel ended up being, like, 45 minutes from this Airbnb, and we're like, "How in the world?" Because when our Uber driver dropped us off at this place, he was like, "Good luck getting rides out of here because there's none, really." And I'm like, "Well, shoot. We're just gonna have to, like, hopefully bum a ride from somebody." But it just so happened that one of the amazing, beautiful people, his name is Lev. Lev, I love you so much, and I'm so grateful for you. It just so happened, Lev, who is from Canada, he comes to Wilmington and chooses to stay at the exact same hotel that me and my husband are staying at, and he rented a car. So, like, how amazing. Yet another, like, incredible synchronicity and wink from God being like, "I got you. I've got this all figured out." Like, so beautiful. Lev, is like, "Yeah, of course. Like, of course, I'm happy to give you a ride to and from the hotel." And we're like, "Amazing. Help you pay for gas and everything. Thank you so much." I'm trying to remember if there was anything super significant that first night to talk about. I was so worried. Like, I wanted to hurry and record my experience before I forgot all the cute, amazing details, but I also needed time to integrate. And, like, it was so wild after for like a solid month or more after my time there, because you're doing intensive, like, meditations and being out of body, and I'm ungrounded naturally. Like, I am so ungrounded in my day-to-day life as it is. So, doing this, like, spending a weekend basically out of my body, I was so insanely ungrounded. And, yeah, it's taken me this time to, like, feel like I could even talk about these experiences without, because even just talking about them, it, like, brings me back to that mind state, and it's kinda tricky. But, yeah, like, even just, like, starting to think about it, it can be tricky, and I'm hoping I'm able to do that easier given the amount of time that's passed, but we'll see. So, I'm trying to remember, like, fun little things. I remember this amazing woman named Chris was there, and she finds out we're from Utah, and she's like, "So you guys are probably Mormon, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, I guess technically our family is. So, anyways, Chris talks about that, and she's talking about, like, the Mormon beehive and the bees, like, that's the Mormon flag or something like that, or the Utah flag. Same difference though, right? Uh, Mormon, Utah. Anyways, so that's, like, a little thing that will be relevant later. What else? I don't know, like, Heather, I remember when I met her, right away, it was like, okay, I remember her from my dream, and I remember from my dream that she reminded me so much, like, her energy and even kinda how she looks, she reminded me of one of my aunts, and it was amazing to sit and talk with her. I'm trying to remember if it was the first night or not. She had this thing of tinfoil where like, okay, so it's tinfoil on a pin or something, and then you cover the whole thing with glass so that you can't the goal here is, like, we're trying to move the tinfoil, right, with our energy, and you have it covered with glass so that you're not, like, breathing on it, or it's not getting moved by, like, air or whatever, just trying to eliminate any possibility that, like, outside things are making the tinfoil move instead of, like, your energy, right? So, I know that one of the nights I'm thinking it might have been that first night, me and her were kinda, like, moving that tinfoil, which was super cool. I don't know. If anything, as I talk, if anything stands out that I am like, "Oh, shoot, I need to talk about that," I'll bring it back up from night 1. But the end of the night, we get in the car with Lev, and we head back to our hotel, and we see, like, at one point when we're almost there, I see a possum, like, go across the road, and anytime I see things like that, especially, like, at these special times and moments, I'm like, "Okay, that's animal symbolism, I need to make sure I look that up." And when we get back to our hotel, I look it up, and I remember, like, kinda scrolling through, trying to, like, look at symbolism, and one of the things that I saw that I read just, like, super quickly, I didn't spend much time on it, because once I saw this sentence, I was like, "Oh, there we go. There we go. That's it." It said something about possum and being associated with the Holy Spirit. Not exactly sure how that works out, possum and Holy Spirit, not not totally sure, but I read that, and whether that's actually the case or not, it's the fact that, like, I saw that sentence looking it up, and that's, like, one of the only things I happened to read, and it was like, "Oh my god, there we go." Because, again, the whole Bledsoe family story revolves around the Holy Spirit. And yet another wink and a nod from God being like, I got you. Plus, like, isn't possums, they're kind of like sneaky or something. And I feel like God was so super sneaky with how he arranged this whole thing, like giving me the dream a year ago, making me think it was about the other Monroe experience when actually it was this one. And he's like, huh, just wanted to test your faith there for a minute or something. Okay, so next day. Next day. How do I want to describe what happened the next day? I wake up super pumped, okay? And I am super energetically sensitive. I can't help it. I absorb other people's energies. And basically, some things happened where I absorbed some energy from I absorbed some energy that totally like altered. I woke up in a great mood, excited to start the day. Like, here we are. This is a long time coming for me. Like, let's get the show on the road. I absorb some energies and it totally like nosedives my energy a little bit. So by the time we get to the Airbnb, I'm like, shoot. And I don't feel myself totally. And I don't know, like, okay, so my entire experience there ended up being this incredible spiritual journey that looking back, I see what it for what it was. And I kind of wonder if there's something about like my spirit knew or something what I was about to be in for. And a lot of healing was going to take place, which meant confronting some heavy stuff in the process. And I think that partly affected my energy. Also, the astrology that weekend was insane. Insane. Okay. I was so nervous. It was like Sun conjunct Mars conjunct Pluto conjunct Venus, like insane. That is very intense energy. Everyone in the group could feel it. And I noticed that, like, various people I think went through bouts of like some heaviness, a little bit of depression, a little bit of edginess, a lot of like, I'm not sure why I feel this heavy. And I'm like, I do. It's the astrology plus all this intensive stuff that we're doing. And everybody could feel it. And then I'm also feeling it, but then also absorbing it from other people. But a little bit of backstory here. Okay, so I went into this program with a lot of heaviness experience with the gifts that I do, knowing the things that I do. There's no like filter. I know things good and bad. Even like when it comes to spirits, it's a full spectrum thing. There's no filter. I experience the full spectrum of knowing various things. I feel like there's an orb just now. I'll have to like watch it back, but I swear to God, totally Flora, which was my friend. I'm in the process of telling a story. It'll make sense in a second. Okay, so experienced a lot of heavy stuff, especially over this past year. Like I always do with having these gifts throughout, like even from the time I was a kid, I would know things that were really heavy and hard to know. But over this past year, it was just like extra. It was like most of the stuff that I was getting knowings or prophetic visions, prophetic dreams, or just knowings, it was all heavy. It was all involving people dying and loved ones dying. There were several. One of my friends that is a young mother, she had cancer, but it was in like she had a bunch of clear scans. She reaches out to me and tells me things are good, but I feel like I better get close with God. And would you help me with that, basically? When I connect with her, I immediately have this knowing of how it's going to go and that the cancer was going to come back and that it was going to be in her nervous system. I knew it was going to go in her brain and her spine, just her nerve system is what I knew, that it was going to be very fast, that it was going to take her really fast. And about 2 months from that time, she ended up passing away. Also, there's a family friend, like he was my neighbor my entire childhood growing up. And I had a experience where I had a vision of him doing something to himself in graphic detail. And that one, I think I was actually able to intervene and help him out and it didn't take place. And again, it's these things that can be super hard. Like, what do I do in this situation? But of course, as soon as I saw that, I reached out to him immediately, even though we hadn't talked in years. How you doing? I'm reaching out to him, trying to connect. And he is super open and vulnerable. And he totally spilled his guts to me. And that whole idea of like self-harm was very much on his mind. And I was able to talk him through it. And that was great. But still, this overall heaviness was there. And then I mean, there was kind of several things. And then the big one that kind of haunted me for months afterwards was a friend of mine. Her name is Flora. And this entire episode, this episode is dedicated to Flora. She was my beautiful friend, and she's actually the one that introduced me to the Bledsoe family, and therefore kind of like gets the credit for this entire journey that I've been on since I've been introduced to them. But Flora, I knew she was struggling. I knew it intensely. I tried to reach her repeatedly. And long story short, I'm not sure what exactly happened to her. She would not let me in. She knew how energetically sensitive I am. And I'm not sure what was going on, but all she would tell me is, I can't talk to you about it. I don't want whatever's happening to me to reach you. And I'm like, dude, it's me. Nothing can face me. Like, all the stuff I've experienced, all the dark, heavy things. Like, I ain't scared and nothing can touch me, and let me reach you. Like, I can feel this and let me help. She just wouldn't. And one day I suddenly wake up knowing something's seriously wrong. And for whatever reason, I don't know like why, I opened my phone to go to Facebook and look up her name, and I don't know why, because she wasn't even on Facebook. So I'm not even sure. But when I type in her name, immediately there's like all these news stories that are horrible with her name attached to it. That say Flora Hernandez from Midland, Texas, was hit by a semi. And yeah, like I'm like, oh my God, is it my Flora? And I see that, yeah, it was her. And just, yeah, like obviously that was really hard to see and to find out. And for her to pass away in such a intense and tragic way was just really hard, especially because I knew something was seriously wrong, and I tried to get her help, and I tried and I tried and I tried, and I couldn't reach her. So anyways, I it just haunted me. I wanted to know why. I wanted to know what was happening, what she experienced, like what happened, and why wasn't I able to intervene with her when I was able to intervene with these other things. And just throughout my time of having these gifts and abilities, there's times when I'm like, why? Like, why, God? Why do I need to know these things? What is the point? Why? It kind of saddles me with this feeling of like duty or responsibility that I'm supposed to do something with it. Why else would this knowledge be given to me if like I'm not supposed to prevent something? Like, I don't know. So anyways, I kind of went into like, I wanted to break from my gifts, and I asked God to kind of put it on pause. I don't want to know things. I want to take a break for a minute, which yeah, like I didn't have any more heavy knowings after that since then, since about August of last year. Well, I've had a few knowings that are a little heavy, but like not on that level. Instead, I was getting like all kinds of prophetic visions or dreams of really amazing, happy, light things. And that was wonderful. It's been like heavy, right? I've felt heavy, and I went into this experience at the Monroe Institute with this kind of like heaviness, and like almost feeling like these gifts or abilities I have, like feeling really kind of like feeling the burden of it a little bit. So I think I was just kind of feeling that, like I'm in for it. I feel like my subconscious mind knew like I'm in for it. There's going to be some healing taking place. This is going to be intense. And that kind of like affected my energy, especially the first day I was there, just feeling that. So what we would do is we would gather as a group. Ryan was our program facilitator, and he would kind of like coach us through or tell us what we were about to go do. And then we would all go to our places. Shane and I would go down that spiral staircase, and it would feel amazing each and every time. It never got old. And we would go down to our bed, put on our blindfolds that would totally like black out our entire vision, and then put on these headphones, which it was almost like walkie-talkies. Like all of us were on the same channel with our headphones, and Ryan would push play, and we would all get the same thing all at the same time. And so we go down, and the very first exercise we're doing is focus 10. I'm like, here we go. Here we go. And so right away, and this is my journal from while I was there, and I've got everything in here. I might have to reference it, especially if my mind like spaces off when I get talking about everything. But so right away, I'm out of body. And so You guys might know of this place, and if you don't, you can look it up. It's this place called Horseshoe Bend, and it's in, like, Page, Arizona. I went there years ago. I think it was, like, 2017 or 18, like, early 2018. My husband took me there while I was kinda going through a major, like, spiritual up-leveling, and I felt so drawn to this place, and so my husband arranged this surprise trip for us to go, and it was incredible. I remember walking up to this, and at this point, when we went, there was no people there, really. There was very little people, and there was no guardrails. It was just you and this cliff. So I walked right up to the edge of the cliff, like 1 or 2 steps, and I would be, plummeting. But I love that. I love the thrills. I felt so connected to this place. It felt like a spiritual remembrance coming to this place. And I remember just standing there looking out at this incredible view. And for whatever reason, that's where I was. That's where, like, immediately I'm out of body and I'm standing there like I was years ago. And I jump, but I fly. I fly and I'm thinking, where do I want to go first? I'm totally out of body. I'm flying and I'm going through the canyon, and then I'm like, I know exactly where I'm going. And I have this amazing cousin who is such an angel. I love him so, so much. He's such a beautiful soul. And he's in a position in life right now where he's taking care of his dad, who's not doing that great, and he's handling it on his own. And it's a major thing to bear for him. And he's been on my mind constantly for a long time now. And I wanted to go see them. I wanted to go see what I could do, go see them. I go to them and I remember like when I'm going to their home and I see this light around their place. And based on kind of some of the stuff that I know, that I was expecting not that. Honestly, like I was expecting kind of like heaviness, and I I was kinda a little bit surprised to see this. So it's encased in light, and I go into the home, seeing the house in detail, like precise detail, and I see angels inside the home. And there's just this intense reverent energy inside this place. And as I'm in there, like I keep hearing, and when I say hear, by the way, like when you're in the astral realm, when you're in the spirit realm, when you're dealing with that, they don't talk. It's like telepathy. It's this instant knowing and an instant understanding all at once that takes place. And I'm having this knowing, this understanding. They're telling me what is taking place here is extremely sacred. And there's just this hushed, reverent energy there. And I kind of just sit there, kind of feeling this feeling of like being in awe of what's taking place and just feeling it. And I'm thinking, like, what is it that I could do while I'm here? And I go to my uncle, my cousin's dad, and I do energy work on him. I try to help him with feelings of like not feeling scared, feeling just kind of like a willingness, not feeling scared, preparing himself, things like that. And then I go to my cousin and I'm infusing him with energies of acceptance and peace and endurance and perseverance, things like that. And I fill the place with even more light. I encase my cousin with light, my uncle with light, the entire home. I thank the angels for what they're doing there, and I continue on my way. And I just kind of want to say really quickly, I wasn't sure if I was going to mention it now or at the end of everything, but I want to go ahead and say it now. I recently, like on Saturday night, I talked with my aunt about this, and this took place, I think it was January. It was like the third weekend of January. So like January 24th, I want to say. Something along, let's look it up. So this would have been January 24th, either the 23rd or the 24th. And I talked with my aunt on Saturday, which would have been the 28th of February. So a month later, after I did this, I talk with my aunt and I tell her what happened, right? And she validated everything. She's like, oh my God, which, okay, so obviously, if it's not totally clear, that uncle and my aunt, they're divorced, and my aunt is now remarried with somebody else. Um, I'm telling my aunt, and she's there with her new husband there, and I'm telling them, like, describing what the house layout was and everything. They're like, I've never been there. I've never been to this place. And she validates that's exactly how it is. That's how it's That's how it's laid out. And I tell her about what I saw there. It's incredibly comforting and reassuring for her because, as you can imagine, this is an immense stress for her, knowing what her son is going through and everything. There's so much more to it that I can say, but just like to quickly try to summarize it all. And I tell her about what I did, like my intentions with the energy work that I did, and that especially with her son, I was trying to help him with feelings of acceptance and peace and endurance, perseverance, things like that. And she's like, "No joke, for at least 3 weeks now, I've been telling and I've been saying that like it feels like he is feeling so much acceptance and he feels so much more at peace and he's at a much better place with everything right now. And his dad is also doing so much better. He also feels a lot more peaceful and a feeling of acceptance and just more calm." And so I'm like, "Oh my God, amazing." Like amazing. And I just love the fact that I just love that validation, but then just the extra layer of validation of I was in that home and describing in detail the layout and to have that like precisely validated, like it's just cool. This stuff is so real and it's so cool and I just love it. So anyways, back to my journey. From there, I leave and this is where it gets tricky to talk about this experience in a linear way because how I was experiencing it was all at once. I was having like three different perspectives taking place all at the same time. So for me to try to tell this part like in a linear way, it's a little bit tricky. From there, I'm at a beach. Okay. And this is where I see Flora, my dear friend who passed away, who made all of this possible for me to even be here with with Ryan Bledsoe. There she is on the beach. And we run up to each other and I'm just like, what happened? Like, I want answers for myself. Her family want answers of like what happened. Why did she go out that night? How did it happen? Like, oh my God. Right. And she's just like, "Shh, we can't go there. We can't, this isn't why I'm here. This isn't like, we can't go there." And again, it's so silly to try to like put words to what's taking place because there's so much more that's being communicated and to try to like use words feels like, I don't know, it just falls flat every time, and I'm gonna say that, like, probably a billion times while while I tell the story. So, she basically is like, "I'm not here for that. I'm here with you, experiencing this with you, and if we get into all of that, it's gonna take you out of this whole thing, and that would be such a shame." She's like, "Just be here with me. Be now, here with me." And we sit on the beach together and we're just enjoying each other's company on a heart and soul level, just enjoying each other. And I'm just so happy to feel her again. I've missed her tremendously. And I'm sitting with her on this beach. And then I look up and this huge portal, we're looking out over the ocean and this huge portal opens up over the ocean. And she looks at me like, "Go, like, come on, let's go. Like that's you. That's your ride. Like go on." And so I fly into this portal. And while I'm inside this portal, it's almost like in the movies how they show depictions of like wormholes or something or like on Doctor Strange. That's a lot like what I'm experiencing. It's almost like this water slide thing. Like I'm going in this tunnel thing and I kind of have this zoom out experience where I'm seeing that I'm inside of a Metatron's cube. Let me like try to adjust this. So what I'm talking about is this shape right here on the white drum. Okay. It was like I'm inside that, but like inside one of the circles, like in like almost like I'm inside a water slide type thing. So I'm riding inside of this Metatron's cube. And at the same time, and this is also going to require some backstory a little bit. At the exact same time, backstory time. Back in 2024, I think it was October 2024, I went to Riverfest, which is like a meeting, like a meetup town thing, celebration thing. In Wilmington, North Carolina, and the Bledsoes are, they're a part of it, and people come from all over the world to. We all meet up on the beach and we do a sky watch and we watch, incredible orbs and have incredible experiences. And when I was there, towards the end of the night of this night full of seeing, like, I think it was, like, over 200 orbs, and it kind of was finished off with this experience where we saw what we called the knot birds, and I swear to God, like, it it sounds insane, but, like, it was angels that flew over us on the beach. A lot of people thought they were birds at first until they noticed they are glowing this red-orange color, and they disappeared, like, we all watched them disappear. A lot of people say they watched them appear too, like, they saw how they appeared and then also watched them disappear. I personally didn't see them appear, but I did watch them disappear. They flew right over our heads, and they were definitely not birds. Birds don't glow like that, like, and they also don't disappear. I really do strongly feel it was angels. So, in this experience, I'm seeing from their perspective. And that shape, the Metatron's cube, it is around these angels, and I'm like being held at their heart center area. It feels like that's where I'm being carried as I'm and it does feel like I'm being carried or I'm like seeing from their perspective as I'm up there with them and flying over the beach over us, over this crowd of people. So I'm seeing from that perspective and I'm continuing with them up into like when they disappear and I'm still there with them, okay? And at the same time, I am deep under the ocean. And this time it's with whales, with one whale in particular, but I remember there's other whales there. And it's the same thing. I'm enveloped within this Metatron cube shape at its heart center. And this whale is swimming with me throughout the ocean. And at the same time, it feels like I'm swimming up with the angels, almost like swimming in I don't even know space. I don't know where the hell they were when they disappeared. It feels like I'm just with them gliding and at the same time gliding throughout the ocean with this whale. And the whale is doing its sounds, like the beautiful frequencies and sounds that they make. And I can feel it healing me like every time it's making this sound. And it's taking me down deeper, deeper, deeper. And it brings me to this giant octopus. And it's so beautiful. Like, it's so, like when I say it's beautiful, it's not like I'm physically looking at this octopus and it's beautiful. It's beautiful because I'm experiencing it as a soul, as a being, as a whatever. It's just as I'm, like, watching it and taking it in, it feels like it's doing the same to me, and it's so interesting. I swear to God, like, every time I talk about these experiences and the frequencies, I feel like I have a lot of throat chakra clearing that comes up, every time I talk about it, and I know that that's what was taking place. It was a lot of throat chakra healing, like the frequencies that the wells were making and everything. A whole throughout my entire experience, looking back, I now see that, like, frequencies were very much a part of every experience I had, and it was healing and activating me to the point of, like, here I am. I'm being told that it's time for me to share and to stop holding back and to stop playing small and like my voice matters and I need to do these things, share these things. So here I am. And so, yeah, I'm here with this octopus and we're just like, yo, like I'm taking it in and it is also kind of like taking me in. And it's this beautiful moment again where it's like the soul merging heart to heart, soul to soul experience. And I hear it tell me, I'm going to see you again before your time here is through. And right at that moment, I hear Bob Monroe's voice. When you're doing these meditations, you hear towards the end, Monroe's voice comes on and he kind of like starts like counting you back and playing a frequency that brings you back to a conscious frequency because the tones that are playing, it puts you into like a theta state and it's not, it's not a conscious state. So it's kind of counting you back at the end and it plays this frequency to bring you back to consciousness. And just what a cool thing, right? That like whatever this being was, it knew my time here with him was about to wrap up. And right at that time he's like, I'm going to see you again before your time here is through. And then I'm out, counted out. But again, that whole experience, it was like I was all places at the same time. as I'm with the whales, I'm also up with the angels in wherever they were, swimming in just like vast blackness. And then I'm in a vast blackness at the same time swimming with the whales. And then I'm also like going through this Metatron cube shaped thing within it. Like it was incredible. And it's hard to explain. It's hard to fully put into words. But that was my very first experience. And I come out of it, which by the way was so hard. Each and every time I'd come out of these experiences, I would feel like, okay, like I'm gonna take off my mask, I'm gonna take off my headphones. And I would feel like I'm moving, but my physical hands aren't moving. And this got like progressively worse. And it would take longer and longer for me to like fully be back in my body. But like it would be hard for me to like I'd be like thinking I'm moving, but I'm actually not. So it would take me usually a while to get back up the stairs and to meet up as a group. And we would meet up as a group after each experience and kind of like share what we wanted to share. And again, at this point, I'm like, I'm not going to share this. I'm still processing. I'm still integrating. I'm still just like, what the heck? Holy crap. That was a lot. Wow. I'm still just like processing. And then also, I feel like I'm going to sound crazy to the group. I feel like there's so much to it, so much nuance, so much backstory that like nobody would understand what that meant to me and why all of that, which there's so much backstory even with like my Metatron's cube shapes and why I have that. And it's like another story for another time. Timer just said like 11111, which oh my God, that's mind blowing. What's mind blowing is that shape, Metatron's cube. Obviously, that's associated with Archangel Metatron, who is the Archangel of Awakening, and he's the Archangel over astrology, and he's associated with the number 1111, which a lot of people will see that number when they're having and experiencing a spiritual awakening, which he's the Archangel over. So that's so funny to me that, like, of course, that gets brought up right at that time. Right. So, yeah, I'm like, what do I even say? What do I share? I'm just not going to. And especially because like if I bring up my friend Flora, I'll probably cry or something. And so I just didn't share. And maybe I'll do like a podcast where my husband shares his experiences because it was so fun. He went into this whole thing like being like, I'm probably not going to experience anything, but this will be a cool, relaxing vacation. And he had lots of really cool experiences, and it was so fun to watch him share. And it was my favorite because my husband Shane is so lovable. He's so God, I just love him. And everybody can't help but love him. He's just this lovable big force. He makes you laugh. He makes you smile. He's just so himself. I don't know. I just adore him. And it was fun for me to share him with everybody and like have all these people see him and experience him and just love him immediately. And it's like, yeah, that's my sweetheart. And it was so fun for him to have these experiences and just like be like, oh my God, this is crazy. I think with that very first experience, he remote viewed Ryan. He saw Ryan like checking himself out in the mirror and stuff. And he was looking up through the entire house and was seeing like the storm build and seeing the trees move all crazy. And Ryan said that. He's like, yeah, that was all validated by Ryan. Totally blew Ryan's mind. He's like, I totally did do that in the mirror. Like that was real. That really happened. And the storm picked up so intensely while you guys were doing that to the point where I was worried it was going to take you guys out of it because it's so loud and chaotic and the trees were going nuts. So that was super fascinating. My goodness, I might have to do like parts to this. I don't know how in the world I'm going to. There's so much more. I'm just on like the first activity of night one and I'm already like a minute or an hour, 15 minutes in. So, right. I Okay, so the next experience we have, Ryan's telling us we're going to practice like putting this ball around us. It's called a reball, where you're kind of like encasing yourself in this ball of like protection and like it's like a ball you travel in and it's a ball of protection basically. So we go down and practice that. And I immediately get brought to like as soon as the ball's around me, which a lot like that's something that I've done for a long time is this whole ball of protection thing. And I actually put myself inside of like a Merkaba or like a Metatron's cube when I astral travel. So that's something that I was used to doing basically. But so I get the ball around me and I go to a few different places. I got brought to a house, which I felt like it was Ryan Bledsoe's Bledsoe's house. I don't know if it was from his childhood. I don't know if it was his current house. Like, I don't know. I just know that when I was there, I felt like it was his house. And I kind of like end up going above his house and I see a golf course. Um, and then I get brought to Mike. Mike is another guy from the group, someone I freaking love and adore so much. And I felt he was one of those people that was like, I know you from my dream. Oh my God, do I know you? And I feel like I'm with Mike and I see him at a place like Las Vegas or like a casino or something. It was really quick. I just know that like I'm my only association with like casinos, I relate that to like Las Vegas. So it felt to me that like Las Vegas Energy Casino, that's where we were at. And then from there, I get brought to another person from our group. His name is Cliff. Yet another person that I recognized from my dream. He felt like an angel. Cliff did. Cliff, you felt like an angel. Anytime you'd look at me, and a lot of other people agreed with me, it felt like talking to an angel. The way you just like look at us even. It was amazing. But I saw Cliff and I saw these two little girls. They looked identical. So to me, I don't know if they were just sisters or twins, but these two little girls run up to Cliff. And something that I do a lot is I don't know what the word. I see babies when they're coming. And it felt to me that they were Cliff's babies. And I get like, surprise, Cliff. I didn't say this part to him, and we'll see, like time will tell. But I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they either come to him directly or they come into his life through somebody else. I don't know, but these two little girls came up to him. And again, we'll have to see in time. Ryan validated to me that he did live by a golf course. And then Mike mentioned to me that Vegas was a part of his life. And I was wondering, like, I was wondering if, like, he would return to Vegas somehow or something like that. But then Shane told me later that Mike mentioned to him that soon after our time at the Monroe program, that Mike went to like something happened where he was doing something and he got stranded or something because of a storm and he ended up going to a casino. And I'm like, maybe it was that. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in Vegas, but maybe it was just that little casino moment. I don't know. We'll see. But so that was interesting. And trying to think what was next. There was so much. Excuse me. Okay, so there's focus 10, there's the reball, and then next was it the dolphin thing? Let's see. I think after that, is that when we played with like the energy balls? I love how I'm saying it like you guys can answer me. I think that's when we played with the energy ball and I got matched with Heather. And Heather is this freaking gifted healer and super psychic, and I just love her so much. And between me and her, like the energy ball we got going was so palpable. Like you could feel it so strongly, and we were making it grow. We were making it huge. It was so warm. Yeah, like it was really intense, and it was really cool to experience that with her because she was super gifted too, and it just made it like super potent. And then what did we do next? So next, I think our next exercise we did, it was like something that was heavy for us or something like a fear or something that was heavy for us that we wanted to like transmute, which is such a cool exercise. Again, it's something that like again, Scorpio rising, Pluto on my ascendant, 8th house stellium. Transmuting is my jam. That's like what I do. And so transmuting things, turning weaknesses into strengths is like my favorite thing. And this is kind of like what we did with this exercise is taking something kind of heavy and it also reminded me of, in Harry Potter, the Bogart thing where they take like their biggest fear and then they make it funny. They take the power out of it. It was similar to that. I'm telling you, Monroe Institute, it's like Hogwarts. So I did that. I don't know that there's anything super relevant to talk about. It was a lot of all the things that I was dealing with, the feelings of heaviness and almost like not being scared of my gifts, but being like, okay, that enough of this, enough of all of this stuff. Or like just the heaviness that you can feel when you feel the weight of knowing so much. And what else? Fears around sharing myself and my voice and any lingering hesitancy I have around that. There's a lot of that I was transmuting. and it was amazing. And then the next exercise was we did some energy work utilizing kind of like because you're in like such a subconscious theta state and you're not using your mind actively, you kind of just like this energy work. It was, they call it the Dolphin Energy Club. And basically, you're employing something. Some people would use dolphins, some people would use like dragons or like violet flame. Either way, it's like something else is kind of doing the work for you to kind of do energy work on you, right? Like eat up negativity, pain, struggle, whatever you got going on in your mental body, physical body, spiritual body, emotional body, like everything to kind of like go in and take it away and then replace it with light and healing. And that was amazing. And I felt so much lighter. Like all of these things, it just helped tremendously with all the stuff that I'd been dealing with, which at this point, I think it'd be good to say so Shane is a naturally gifted energy worker. And during one of these exercises, I think it was the one with the reball, he was saying as soon as his reball was placed around him, he was brought to another person there, Chris, which, oh yeah, I need to say that. Okay. So Chris is the one that was like, oh, you're from Utah. So you're probably Mormon, right? And she got talking about like the Mormon or the Utah flag. So and how it's like got beehives and bees and stuff. When me and my husband go down to our bed where we're staying and we pull back the covers, the sheets, which also we had two rooms, two beds to choose from. And I chose this certain bed, and we go to get in bed, and the sheets are covered in bees with beehives. So, another cool synchronicity. But yeah, so as soon as Shane gets this reball around him, he gets brought to Chris's mom, who has cancer. And she mentioned that her mom had had cancer and that she was with her, like she spent like a month in the hospital with her. That's all that we knew. We didn't know anything else about, no other details about what her mom was experiencing or anything. But Shane gets brought to her. He describes the room in detail, describes her mom, and he sits with the mom and he kind of like breathes for her and feels the feeling of like being pain free and an ease of breathing and just an overall sense of like feeling better and more energized, basically. And so when we regrouped, Shane mentioned all this to Chris, and it was a beautiful moment between them. And then the next day, it was all validated when Chris came and told Shane, my husband, her mom didn't need to have her breathing treatment. She was breathing just fine. She was breathing really well. She felt better. She didn't need her pain management stuff. And just how beautiful. Like it actually, this stuff is legit. It's real. And yeah, another incredible validation and how beautiful. Yeah. So we do the dolphin thing. That was incredible. Like it really did help me tremendously. I felt like it just helped with so much of the subconscious burden that I've been carrying. And like when you know a lot of things, I know for me, it felt like it made me kind of emotionally numb in order to deal with all the knowing. It can be so much and be so heavy that you kind of have to like turn off your feelings a little bit, which I'm not like super emotional to begin with. I'm not a crier, but over time of having to do that, it feels to me that my emotions got turned off to kind of a weird extent. Like I don't cry anymore. It's extremely rare. Like in a given year, I could count on one hand the amount of times that I would cry in an entire year. But when I would cry, it would be like a dam is breaking and I just can't stop crying. And it can be over something so small and silly and interesting. But like I've noticed that over time, like that can't be good, right? I don't know. Like you got to feel things. You got to be sad. You got to cry things out. You got to. Like, anyways, so I didn't expect coming to this program for all of this. I didn't expect like to come have all of this amount of healing done. Like it was so much more than I expected and it was amazing. So I immediately felt so much lighter and everything. And so in the middle of the day, we had lunch. We would ordered in groceries. It was so fun. And to just like make a quick lunch and eat all together and to just kind of hang out. Trying to think. So night one, what did we do? We just hung out. Like when everything was finished, we just hang out. We would order in dinner and hang out and talk. And I'm trying to remember what happened night one. I think night one is when Ryan asked for us to do energy work on him. So me, Shane, and Heather, we all do energy work on him. And like for me, I was like working on his middle. So Heather was at his head area. I was at his middle area and Shane was doing his bottom half. And when I put my hand above his solar plexus, it was like, bam. It was so intense. It felt seriously like it was repelling my hand. It was like, bouncy and solid and like very, very palpable. And it was like, holy shit. It felt like a very palpable shield, very powerful solar plexus. There's so much that I could feel. I could feel his heart kind of going through this rebirth process because he's about to have a baby, him and his wife, his amazing, beautiful wife, Jennifer, who I just love so much. But yeah, I could feel that. I could feel his heart like being preparing for like it was going to be reborn, like a whole new heart. It was getting ready to crack open and be reborn. And there's so much going on there. But yeah, lots of energy work. And Ryan had mentioned that he's been told how powerful of a shield he has. And it was like, yeah, totally. Absolutely can feel that. And I know the next day, Ryan was saying how much better he felt. Like he felt so much more energized. And apparently, this energy work seemed to help him quite a bit. What else did we do? I can't think of anything that stands out totally right now. We go back to our hotel, we rest, and then there's like a hair on my nose. Okay. So next day, I'm really trying to not miss any amazing details, but nothing's coming to mind. The next day, we get there and I feel a little bit lighter this day, a little bit more light, but still kind of like a little bit of a heaviness. And then I know that I'm also feeling so much from the group too. There's that feeling a lot of all kinds of things from the group. And I'm trying to like not. I'm trying to have my shields up because it's like I've got my own stuff. I don't want to feel what other people are feeling. I don't um yeah, so there was that. And then we telling us about how we're about to go to Focus 12 now and how cool it is. And everyone kind of disperses that I was the last one out of the room. And he's like, Ryan tells me, he's like, Lindsay, I think you're really going to enjoy this one. It's really abstract. And I just feel like you're really going to like this one. And I'm like, awesome. Like the abstract stuff is my jam. And yeah, so I head down and we do Focus 12. And oh my God, this is where I'm totally going to need my journal. I'm out of body and I'm immediately really small. I am covered with soft things, soft blankets, soft textures. I'm just like engulfed in softness. It feels like I'm swimming in it. I'm surrounded in it. I'm just like enveloped in all this softness and it's so nice. And then I'm just like getting smaller and smaller. And then all of the softness around me kind of like I'm looking around and it's carpet. Like I'm down in some carpet and I'm just like, oh my God, weird. And then I look up and I'm like, oh my God, of course. So I'm not scared of like hardly anything, right? Like I love snakes. I love scorpions. I'm not scared of much, but oh my God, am I scared of spiders? I have ugh, I'm scared of spiders. And I look up and there's this giant ass spider crawling towards me. And I'm just like, "Oh my God," like, of course it's a spider. But I'm having this understanding of what's taking place, right? Like, I'm surrounded with all of this softness, and then I feel really small, and this spider is walking towards me, and it walks right over the top of me, and I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the spider, and I'm seeing that whatever spiders have, their skin, their fur, I don't know, like, whatever, I'm noticing that it is also really soft. I'm seeing like it's soft looking. And it's this moment of realization of there's all this heaviness, all these scary things, right? All these scary prophetic visions that I get, these knowings that are heavy, they're scary, they feel huge, and I feel small and helpless. And they come towards me and I'm having this moment where I realize like even in these moments I'm enveloped in softness and protection and that these experiences aren't hard. They're soft. And as they pass over me, that's all I've got to do. I don't have any sense of obligation. There's nothing I'm supposed to necessarily do. It just passes over me. And that even though these experiences are seemingly scary, they're also soft. They're also encased in softness, and there's a divinity in all of it. And like, of course, I know and understand that even when these things happen, I'm very able to like zoom out and have this big understanding of the bigger picture that's taking place. But sometimes it just is. It's still heavy. It's still hard. And something about that experience and this like knowing, this understanding that I'm having as this situation that I'm experiencing is unfolding, it's so healing for me to see that like in all of this you are protected and even these things there's such a divinity and a softness to them and you just have to let them pass over you. And knowing my birth chart, again, Scorpio rising, Pluto on my ascendant, 8th house stellium, all of that is extremely Plutonian. It's all about death and transition and transformation, and, like, Scorpio people, Plutonian people, that's what we do, is help facilitate transitions, and that includes death. And there's something about my energetic imprint, and I've noticed that throughout my life when I look back, like, I help people through transitions. I dream so much about babies that are coming to the earth, and that's a transition from the spiritual realm here. I dream so much about people that are passing, and that's a transition from here to there. Even just like life transitions, I end up helping so many people through them. It's just kind of like the energetic imprint of Scorpio Plutonian people. So even just that, like just knowing that there's, for whatever reason, like I help people do that. And even like my brother, he worked as a paramedic for a time, and he would always get the calls where people were going to die, and I know that that's why. He's Scorpio rising, he's a Scorpio sun as well, and he has that energetic imprint too of, like, the encoding of helping people to transition. So, I just feel like that right there, that experience right there was so healing, almost like facing the fears. Like I said, like almost like my abilities, I got to a point where I was almost like afraid of them and facing it, and that you just kind of like let it happen. And even the spider symbolism itself of like the whole web and how everything is connected and there's a reason for everything and all that. Like there was so much to it, and it would take me forever to break it all down into, but even just that alone was incredible. And then of course, after all of this, like after this session, I go to the bathroom because anytime you're going into these meditations, you go to the bathroom first so that you're not having to pee and it takes you out of the experience. I go into the bathroom, and right there on the wall is a spider. And I hadn't seen that spider yet, and I didn't see it at all afterwards either. But it was like, of course, there you are. Yep. After the spider thing, okay, the spider crawls over me, and then all of a sudden, like, I'm just like, "Oh my god." But then I hear this, there's a man in the room with me and my husband towards the foot of my bed, like, on my side, on the left side, towards the foot of my bed. He looks like a Tibetan monk, and he starts screaming, but he's not, like, screaming. He's doing this super loud chanting, like chanting, singing frequency thing with his voice, and it's really loud, and it takes me out of it. So now I'm like, not super small on the carpet anymore, and I'm just like in the room. He's doing his thing, and I'm just like, oh my god, oh my god. Like it's so real to the point where I'm like wanting to motion to my husband and be like, you seeing this? You hearing this? Like, oh my god, this is intense. This shit is loud. And he keeps doing this chanting, and it's, like, getting super disorienting, like, the sound, the frequencies, and I'm seeing, like, all these waves, like, sound frequency waves from whatever chanting he's doing, like, it's rippling throughout the room, like, these frequency waves, and then they kinda, like, get tighter and tighter and tighter to where it's, like, there's all these lines that I can see. I kinda, like, zoom out, and I see so many lines, almost like pages of a book, so many pages, and I'm seeing all that, and I'm realizing as I'm looking at all these pages that it's layers of time, dimensions, parallel realities, universes, all of that, something like I don't even like, I just know that it's something like that. That's kind of like how I'm understanding it, but it also feels beyond my understanding, but just what my human mind could like come up with. I'm just noticing that, right? It just feels like other times, other dimensions, other realities. Like I don't even know. And I zoom out from that, and I'm seeing this giant spiral, this massive, beautiful spiral, like, out in space. I don't know exactly where I am, but I'm just seeing this huge spiral, and as it would spiral around, it would, like, spit out another page, another dimension, another reality, another universe, I don't know. With every spiral, it would spiral another one out, and I'm just, like, mesmerized watching this, and then I get pulled closer and closer to the center of the spiral, and I go in. Like I swim, fly, float, I don't know. I go into the center of the spiral. And I'm like, "Oh my god, like what, where am I going? Am I going to be able to come back? Like this is all so real. I'm fully out of body. This is so crazy. This like you need to watch Doctor Strange if you haven't. When he's falling through existence, I don't even know, like just blasting off. That is a lot of what it was like for me. That's the most that I can relate or try to convey of what it is like, where you're just like, "Oh my god." So I go into the spiral, and I'm just like, "Am I even gonna be able to come out from this? Like, where am I going? Where like, whoa." Go into the spiral, and it's all black and dark. And then it's like everything is light, and there's And at the same time, the Tibetan monk guy is still doing his chanting thing. Like that is still happening. But now there's a woman on like right, it feels like she's right here, like by my head, and she's doing her own frequency sound. And as she's doing that, like this light, and it's like I'm inside this lotus flower. Specific, I know it's a lotus flower. I'm inside of it and it's opening and blossoming and it's radiating this beautiful, brilliant light. And it itself is also emitting its own frequency that is so insanely beautiful, and it opens up fully, and I'm looking around and there's so many other lotus flowers opening and they each are singing also. And I'm just like, it feels so heavenly. It feels so incredible. I'm seeing all these like, like the aurora, the northern lights, like auroras. I'm seeing things like that dancing around, doing their own frequency sounds. It's absolutely stunningly beautiful. And I'm just kind of like feeling it and experiencing it. And those lights that look like auroras, they're kind of like floating over me, and it feels like I can feel them on my face, and it starts to feel almost like water currents or like wind currents on my face. And so now, like I've got my eyes closed and I'm feeling it just kind of like move over my face, and I open my eyes, and now I am deep underground. I know that I am deep, deep underground. And I'm like, okay, where the hell am I? Like, am I inside of the earth? Am I even on earth? Like, am I inside of some planet? Where the heck am I? And then I had a flash of, am I inside the earth deep underneath Petra? And that also requires some backstory because uh, I had an experience years ago where I was in Petra. And again, like I didn't know what Petra was. I know now that like it was in like Indiana Jones and stuff, but I had no idea what Petra was. That beautiful place. It's like a building carved into a mountain in the desert, like somewhat by Egypt, right? I don't know. Somewhere in that area though, right? It's beautiful. It's this massive place carved right into the side of this like mountain thing. And I have a dream that I'm there in Petra. It somewhat felt like a past life or something. It felt like I lived there. It felt like that's where I belonged. And I knew and saw and experienced that there was like a full city. There was so much more underneath Petra. Like as much as it was grand and beautiful and vast above ground, I knew that there was so much more underneath Petra. I was shown it. And so the kind of like that flashed in my mind. I'm like, am I underneath all of that? Like, am I, where am I? And, but that came to my mind. I'm not sure exactly why, but I'm underground and I'm looking around and I see all these like kind of like caverns at one point because I'm just kind of like gliding around. It looks like labyrinths, like in the movie The Labyrinth, there's all these like stairs that lead to nowhere and like all these weird things like that. That's kind of what it reminded me of, just like a labyrinth. That's what kept coming to my mind. And there's all these like caverns and tunnels, and it's like I don't know where I'm going, but I just am going. Like it's like I knew where I was going, but at the same time I didn't know where I was going. If that makes any sense. It's like my conscious mind where I'm like, where do I go? I don't know, but like my soul was just going, and apparently it was the right direction. That I don't know. And so I'm going through this like cavern, and it's filling with water more and more and more to the point where now I'm swimming through this cavern, and it feels like I'm going forever, just swimming through this tunnel underneath the earth that's full of water. And the water starts subsiding to the point where now I can walk, and there's an opening, like almost like a cave, and I come out and I'm on a beach again. But this time I look and I'm like, "Oh my god." There's this huge, beautiful mountain, and I see these stairs carved into the side of the mountain. It looks like a building, kind of similar to Petra, but like not at all at the same time. Just that there is like it's a building, like you could go inside of it. And I'm seeing all these waterfalls coming off the side of it, and it's beautiful. And I'm like thinking, do I want to go inside? But then I just start flying. I'm like, no, I want to see what's up at the top. So I fly up to the top of the mountain. Now I'm like high above it. I look down and I see all these pools, all these different pools. And in the middle of the pool, it's almost like a fountain, right? In the middle, but instead of like water, there's a crystal, like a obelisk style crystal in the middle. And I see that it's like giving off frequencies and it's having this ripple effect in the water. and I see people, like, people in these pools, and I understand that, like, it's a healing thing, like, this it's a healing frequency, these people are coming here for healing, and I'm just, like, observing this, like, "Oh my god, this is so cool," and I even see, like, these interesting pyramid things over it, like hollow pyramids or something, and at that point, I get counted back. Now I'm hearing Robert Monroe's voice being like, "Alright, time to come back now." That's not what he says, but that's, like, basically what he says. And the frequency starts playing, so it's like, "Okay, I'm done." We come back, and at this point, I'm like, "You know what? I'm sharing. I'm sharing my crazy experiences. I'm gonna say every bit of it." Yeah, like, I'm gonna share what I have to say about what my experience was, because I kind of I don't know, not that I regretted not sharing my incredible experience from the day before, but, like, kind of, and there's all this stuff that's, like, showing me to share. I'm supposed to be sharing. So many of the things that I did with the energy work and, like, transmuting scary things, like, it's like there's such a huge focus on just freaking share. Like, get over your freaking self and share. Also, for people that know astrology, Chiron is conjunct my Mercury. So sharing, yeah, that's my wound. It's hard to. Doesn't come easy for me. So, yeah. So I shared the whole experience and, like, oh my god, it feels like a lot. It feels like I'm talking forever. It feels crazy. And I'm still, like, processing. Like, this was a lot for me. So I share my experience, and then I'm trying to think, what did we do next? Of course, now that I set my binder down. What did we do next? Okay. I think we used Focus 12 to start, like, answering a bunch of problems. Okay, yeah. So the next exercise was we would think of something we want an answer to, that, like, we could get an answer from, like, God, our soul, like, whatever, like, whatever big question we have on our hearts, and get an answer about. So that was really amazing. And then after we did this exercise, we practiced how to do this without having to go into meditation. Because obviously, when you're like in a life situation and you really want, like, some guidance or to get some answer, you don't want to be like, hold on, I need to take a half hour and go meditate on this. Sometimes you just gotta, like, tap in, get your answer. That was really cool. I'm trying to remember exactly what question I had. I think it was, like, something about my work because, again, like, I've over the past year, I was considering just, like, getting a normal muggle human job and not doing this work, just taking a break. Oh, okay. So my question was, what do I do next? What do I do next? Like, what is my next step when it comes to my work? And I could feel my mouth moving, and it was like, just start talking, just start sharing, just start doing, just start moving. Do the damn thing. That's kind of like what my answer was. And then there's a few other things. Yeah. And then what else? And then really? Is that it? There's another exercise where we I don't know. A lot of this was about, like, practicing getting answers on stuff. There's one where we, like, asked a few big questions. Where are they? I thought the questions were in the notebook, but maybe not. But basically, like, these big questions, like, who am I? Who was I before I came to this earthly life? What is my purpose? What do I do next? Things like that. And I got, like, instant answers. A lot of my answers, again, because of, like, my work, I've had a lot of practice of receiving answers and, like, how I receive psychic information and stuff like that, and all kinds of things like that. And I was getting the answers really quickly. Nothing super substantial. Stuff, like, I already knew, basically. Like, nothing was a big surprise. Like, who am I? The answer I got was like, where did I write all that down? Who am I? Right? And it was such a huge understanding. Like, it was showing me oneness and love. Like, you are a part of oneness and love, but also you are unique. You are the one, the only. So that was kind of the answer. And then who or where and who was I before I came here? The song The Highwaymen with Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, Chris Christopherson, those guys, the Highwaymen, that song played in my head. And it's one of my favorite songs. I love that. It's basically about, they're singing about a man and his various lifetimes and, like, how he dies and he comes back. So that for me was just kind of like, you've been many things. And I've had so many past life dreams and past life, like, remembrances and, like, remote viewings and things like that. So it was like, you already know, like, you've been here doing all kinds of stuff over and over again. And then what is my purpose? And to me, it's like, well, yeah. uh, to shine, help others to realize themselves, help raise the frequency of people, to help heal my family line and change the trajectory of it, to transmute darkness to light, and to be a light in the darkness. All of that, just get flooded with all of that. And then also to just like, to just be, to enjoy, to be myself, to live my passion, to express my love, my heart, my passion, to just also just be. Like there's all of that, but then also to just be me and to live life and to enjoy and experience this beautiful world. What action can I take to serve this purpose best? And I kept hearing, like, just keep on keeping on. Like, you just have to put one foot in front of the other. You need to try to not get stagnant and stuck. But to then also, there's a time for everything. There's a season for everything. There's a time for things to feel stagnant, even though it's not. There's a lot happening behind the scenes. But to just keep moving, keep searching, keep looking and searching for God and direction, and to just keep on keeping on was the answer. What is the most important message I can receive and understand at this point in my existence? And I thought I was going to get this huge answer, like something substantial, something mind blowing, something like major. I don't know. And all I got was, you're already doing it. You're already doing it. And I was so confused because it's like, I ain't been doing shit. Like I've been kind of checked out. Like, what are you talking about? But that's the answer I got. Like, you're already doing it and it's all inevitable. That was the next thing that I heard was like, it's already unfolding, it's already happening. And now, like, so much of that makes sense. And I think just the whole thing of like me taking the initiative, me following my dreams, my following what God's directing me to do and showing up and being there and trusting and surrendering and pushing past all the resistance, like, I'm already doing it. And that's all you got to do. Like, you got to take one step, one foot in front of another. You got to push through resistance. You got to keep showing up. And as you do that, it's like these stepping stones show up throughout your life and then it's all inevitable. Like it's going to happen. There's fate and then there's free will, but like it's all inevitable. I think all of us at the end of our lives, like we did what we came here to do. It was inevitable, right? I don't know. Anyway, so that was really a cool experience. And then we have lunch and Ryan's telling us, eat light. Your next exercise is gonna be really cool and it'll be easier if you eat light. And so, yeah, we finish up eating and he tells us, okay, now we're going to practice like fully stepping outside of our body. And there, he hands us this paper with all these various different ways that you can use to go out of body. And there was like, I don't know, like 12 different ways. I wonder if the paper is in here. There was so many different ways. And it was fun for everyone to look at the paper. And so many people were being like, oh my God, I've done that before. I've spiraled up out of my body or I like roller coastered out. And for me, whenever I've popped out of my body, it's like I'm out and I'm far away. Like I'm out and I'm like when I was a kid, I would be out of my body and like out in my tree in the side of my yard in my house. And then I would just kind of like fly around the neighborhood. I'd never really went far, just kind of like flew around that area. Or now, like I would pop out. I've got a shop in my backyard and I would be like up above my shop or like out in the football field behind my house. Or like I've always like I go out far. So that was kind of interesting to see too. And for me, like I had been out of body pretty much this whole time for a lot of these experiences, like fully out experiencing things. And so I was kind of like interested to see what would happen here with this. And for me, once again, I was immediately out and I ended up way across town, like super far, probably like in a neighboring town. Like I don't even know. I just was far and then I didn't have control over myself. Usually when I'm out of body, I can like control myself, like move around like normal. But I'm out and now I'm like rocketing back to my body like a missile. And it's like disorienting. It's making me sick. It's like, oh my God, like I'm moving so fast. I'm dodging and weaving between cars and like taking sharp corners. And like, it's so intense. And I just like missiled my way back to my body. And that was my experience with that. So nothing super crazy or mind blowing or anything. My husband Shane, he got out of body and he was in the room. So he was fully out of body. And when you a lot of the time when you're in the astral, you see things in like grayscale or like weird shapes, shadows, colors. So he was seeing like the archway to our room in like shades of gray and like purple outlining and stuff. So yeah, super interesting. I can't remember if Shane mentioned how, like what because there's several different types of ways of getting out of body. There's like rolling out, there's like almost like Dracula style coming up out of your body. There's several different ways. For me, it always is just like I'm somewhere freaking weird and far and I don't even know. Like I'm never just like right by my body. You know what's interesting though? Like a lot of times at home, I'll get stuck like it feels like I'm literally stuck in my head. So I'll be like out of body with like all of myself out, but I'm stuck in my head. So I'm upside down and like stuck. Like I can't fully get out. That's always weird when that happens. So, and then the next thing that we did was a guided meditation. And this was so fascinating. It was a really good guided meditation. I loved it. It was really fascinating. We're doing this guided meditation, and like right off the bat, it's like, oh my God, are you freaking kidding me? Because the guy's describing, you see this mountain, there's stairs carved into the side of the mountain. At the top of the mountain, there's these pools. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? This is like what I saw. I was already here at the very first exercise of the day, here with this mountain, right? Remember, like I had all that experience and it ended with me being at this mountain and in detail. Like the guy keeps describing the place and it's like, oh my God, yep, that's it too. The only thing was like, I think he was describing this mountain in like a meadow. And for me, the mountain was just off the beach. But yeah, like the pools at the top of the mountain, we were guided to like sit in them because they were healing. And from there, I remember like so the meditation is like you're sitting in the pools, all this healing is taking place, and then you get spiraled up. It almost felt like this guided meditation was like a throwback to so much of my other experiences that I had. It felt to me like there was a little bit of something in each. There's a little bit of something in that guided meditation from each of my other experiences. That's what it seemed to me. So you're in the pool and then you get pulled up into the spiral. So now it feels like where before I went into the spiral, now I'm kind of like being pulled back into the spiral or something. So you go up to the spiral and it takes you up to these higher dimensions. And I know it describes like a doorway and you had the choice to go in through the door or not. And of course, I'm like, hell yes, I'm going through the door. Open the door, and there's my higher self, like a such a bright, radiant, golden version of myself. It's so bright that I can't see the details of me. Like it's so bright. And then in the meditation, it's like you merge with your higher self. So I go up to myself and she just kind of like shimmers into me and we become one. And as I'm standing there, I notice like I'm in I don't know what to call it because I want to say that it was a room, but it was not a room. I know that like it felt very cylindrical shaped and it went up forever. Like there was no ceiling. It just went up forever and it was beautiful. There was all these beings, all these angels, all these things. And I'm sitting in there and I can hear this beautiful music again with the frequencies, right? Hearing this beautiful music. And I'm just like, oh my God, that is so beautiful. And as I'm sitting there just like listening, I hear this booming voice, which to me, it felt to me like the voice of God, the voice of Jesus, something like that, like this big booming voice. And it says, "This is what your soul sounds like." And right then, the music just like explodes, like crescendos so loudly, and it was so beautiful. And like, again, it's just one of those times where it feels like words just fall short. There's no way for me to describe it. Like, I don't even want to try to describe it because I feel like it is just going to fall so short. It's not going to even be able to come close to doing it justice. It was one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had. The sound of it, how it felt like such a gift from God. Like, He wanted me to see myself, He wanted me to witness myself. There's this whole thing of like, I show up to this place and I'm trying to not reveal myself. I'm trying to not fully be myself or share myself, right? I'm hesitant to share my voice, my stories. I'm hesitant to share myself, right? And I'm hesitant going into this about fully almost like resisting my gifts, my abilities. And I'm always saying, because I always get such intensely varied, people perceive me in all kinds of different ways. It's pretty interesting to hear. And I never fully know like how I come off. I don't know. weird thing, but it's almost like God was like, "I want you to see and feel and hear yourself. Like, this is you. This is you." And it was just such a beautiful gift and such a wonderful experience and so activating and so, like, humbling and so great, so magnificent, like something I can't ever fully describe. And I don't even, it was incredible. It's something that changed me at like a cellular level. I came out of that being like, I'm never going to be the same again in like the best way possible. It felt incredibly activating and it was beautiful. So we gather back into our room and share. And I'm just like, oh my God, you guys, that was like the place I told you about, like with our first exercise of the day. Like this was it, right? Like I told everyone about the mountain and all that. And it was just like, oh my gosh, how cool. And then, so that kind of like wrapped up our exercises. After that, we did some grounding. We did like a big group hug type thing and like grounding. It was amazing. And then we had like a little graduation ceremony of like graduating from this exploring consciousness program. And at this point, our group was so close. Like we grew together so much. Everybody sharing their experiences. Like, and I went from being like, I don't know about this whole group thing to like the group part was my favorite. These people are my favorite. I didn't expect that. I'm not used to that. I've never had an opportunity to be a part of a group. I've never enjoyed it. This was like, I'm new to all of that, and it was incredible. I absolutely loved it. I loved each and every person there. It was just my favorite, and I miss them so much already. Like, I felt so connected to them, and I think especially because of the dream I had and how I felt them and knew them, it felt like before I even showed up, and there they were. God, it was so beautiful. I guess, like, before we had our little graduation thing, we kinda had, like where we had the introductions first day, it was kinda like we all go around and say stuff, right? Like, what we got out of it and, like, whatever we wanna say, and everybody's saying that, like, it feels like we're family now, and we need to stay connected, and it gets to be my turn, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna kinda, like, let them in on this a little bit." And I tell them, like, I dreamed about this, like being here at this program. I dreamed about it and I dreamed about you guys. And it felt like the Avengers. And that's how this group feels. Like each of these people are so powerful. Like their souls, their spirits are so powerful and so special. And each of us had such a uniqueness. Like, I don't know. And we're all just getting started. Like that's how it feels to me too. We're all like these spiritual superheroes that are like, I don't even know. Like it was incredible. And I tell them all I want to stay connected with all of them. And yeah, and then we have our cute little graduation thing, and it just the vibes of the group was so high, celebrating each other, such genuine happiness. Like we all go up and take our picture with Ryan with like our certificate, and we get our group picture, which was like, oh my God. I'm so glad we got that because I love every person in that group so much. Like Thomas, Lev, my husband, Shane, Chris, Heather, Cliff, Mike, Alex, all of you, I love you so much. Ryan, of course, like they are all going to have such a special place in my heart. And it was wonderful. It was such a cool experience. And I feel so deeply connected to them. And so we spent the night just like hanging out and soaking each other up. And I knew for sure. I was like, I need to get a hold of Alex's chart before he leaves. There's something like I need to make sure I do his. And at one point, he comes up to me and he's like, please do my chart. And I'm like, okay, yes, absolutely. I'm so glad that I was able to do that. And Mike, oh my God, Mike. I felt Mike so strongly like, throughout the entire time there. I could, like, as we would be sitting there doing our stuff, whatever, listening to him talk, seeing his energy, feeling it. I saw his aura. I saw Ryan's aura major. Like when we came out of that experience where we astral projected, and again, remember, like every time I'd come back, it was getting harder and harder for me to like fully physically come out of like come into my body. And that time it was so hard. Like it kept feeling like I'm getting up out of bed, but I wasn't. And I come upstairs and I'm like seeing auras like crazy. It's hard for me to even focus on what Ryan's saying because I'm just seeing his freaking crazy dark blue aura like go fading out to like a lighter blue all around him. And I'm seeing Mike's aura. Like it was crazy. But anyways, I felt insanely connected to Mike and I could see his chart in my head in precise detail, like every single placement, like, throughout our time being there and hearing him talk and just observing him or whatever, and it was just like, I freaking know it. Like, he's definitely gonna be a Gemini, maybe Sagittarius, absolutely gonna have some Leo. I can feel the Capricorn Saturn influence. Pluto, is he a Scorpio rising? I don't know, but definitely probably has Pluto in his first house. Like, I could feel it all. And so when I get a hold of Mike and I pull up his chart, I'm just like, yep, there it all is. Like, oh my God, down to a T. Like, he's got, uh, I don't know, like, sorry to expose you, Mike. I'm sure you don't care though. Gemini sun, like with Jupiter next to his sun. So he's basically a Gemini Sagittarius mix. Leo moon with Saturn like next to his sun. So there's a Capricorn influence, like all these things, precise detail. Of course, he had Pluto in his first house, all these things. And we connected so deeply. It was crazy. So many weird, crazy like things. I've never met somebody else obsessed with Orion. Okay. Ever. I've had this weird obsession with, like Orion's Belt, the constellation, since I was a kid. I would be little and, like, I loved wintertime because you can see Orion really clear and beautifully in the winter. So I would always look for it when I was a kid, and nobody else have I ever known has ever given a shit about Orion. But Mike also loves Orion. He had a tattoo of it. All these really cool things. Like, I've been being drawn to being a death doula for so long, and he's like, "I wanna be a death doula," and it was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, what? How do you even know what that is?" So many things, but yeah, so, like, to finally get a hold of his chart and, like, get to do that, that was amazing. Got to read Heather's chart, immediately felt so much stuff about her as well as her children. It was just wonderful. Jennifer showed up, Ryan's wife, we got to see her, and I just freaking love Jennifer. I feel like she's one of those people, you immediately love her like, the second you meet her. I just love her so much. It was the best night ever. I felt like we were trying to like, take each other in as much as possible before the night was through, and it was amazing, and I loved every second of it, and it was hard to say goodbye. Like, I didn't want it to end. This experience was so much shorter than the typical, like, week-long Monroe experience, and I was like, "Damn it. I would have loved a week with these people." Like, oh my god. I felt like we were just getting started. But maybe in the future, like if Ryan does like a part 2, I'm hoping we can all get back together because that would be like the best thing ever. But so that was my Monroe program experience. And I feel completely different. We left that night, and as we're driving back to our hotel room, in the same spot, another possum crosses the road in the same spot. And it just felt very like bookending, right? Like we started this experience seeing the possum cross the road and the experience with the possum crossing the road. And it was just like, of course, of course. Me and my husband ended up staying in our hotel for like days longer because the storm totally like affected travel. And we weren't able to leave right away. And but when we did eventually get to leave, it was such a long day of travel. My goodness. But so we're getting ready to leave from the Wilmington airport. Uh, there's only like a few seats available, and it's like against this wall. So we go sit, and I look up, and across from me are these T-shirts with an octopus on them. And I'm like, "Oh, hey, there you are." And I'm hearing that voice, "Before your trip here is through, I will see you again." And the whole time we were there, like, I was looking for an octopus. I was, like, looking everywhere. It's like a beach town, so I was like, that kind of felt cheap to me. Like, if I see, like, some octopus something, it's gonna be like, that's just because it's, like, the beach town decor or something, right? Like, and I'd be like, "Ugh, that doesn't count. I need to see a different one." But I didn't see any other octopuses, and right as we're about to leave to take off, there it is. We happened to sit in this spot where I would look up and freaking see it right there in front of me. So I get a picture of it, and it was the one and only octopus I saw the entire time there, and it was just like just so freaking cool, so incredible. It's these little things that just like I never get used to it. I will never get over it. It's just the coolest thing. Yeah. And so we get home, and it was just so much integrating. I felt so floaty, I felt so ungrounded, like, way even more than normal. It's hard for me to just, like, exist and do everyday life because I'm always so ungrounded. I'm always having experiences, I'm always feeling like I'm living lifetimes in my dreams, having crazy experiences, visiting other places. Feels like I visit heaven, like, all kinds of stuff then I wake up and it's time to be a human, and it's like, how do I do that? But anyways, this was like next level. It was hard to come back to reality, and it was hard to even like talk about all of this because it would like when I'm thinking about the experiences, it would take me back. I felt like it would shift my brain into that frequency, but I wanted to make sure that I get on here, that I tell the entire story before I get too far away from it or, details get fuzzy and whatever. So I think this is a perfect time. And again, this entire episode is dedicated to my beautiful friend. I love her so much and I miss her. And I'm sad that she isn't here to hear this. She's not here to hear it, like physically. Obviously, she's here, whatever. But like, she just was my biggest hype girl. With my other podcast, she would listen to every single episode, and she was the first person that I would hear from about, totally pumping my tires about how amazing it was. And I just love her and I miss her. And so, yeah, this episode, my entire podcast, actually, I just want to just like dedicate it to her. She's so beautiful and special. And yeah, she was a huge part in getting me to where I am today with all of this spiritual stuff and this amazing path that I'm on. So, yeah, I want to end with that and a shout out to Flora and a shout out to our group. I love all of you so much. Shout out to Ryan. Thank you for making it possible. And all right, that is my story. And I guess I'll see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.